Member for Pascoe Vale.
Thank you, Acting Speaker, and I rise to support the 2024-25 Victorian State Budget Take Note motion, currently before the Parliament, and to support the real investments and the real actions contained in this year's State Labor budget that will help us continue building a better and fairer Victoria, and indeed better and fairer local community across my suburbs of Pascoe Vale, Coburg and Brunswick West. And in doing so, I'd like to begin by acknowledging, of course, the Premier, the Treasurer and indeed all Cabinet Ministers and their respective teams for their work in putting together this year's budget. This, of course, is a budget that builds on Labor's positive work since forming government in 2014 and subsequently following the 2018 and 2022 elections to continue delivering for the people of Victoria and indeed my local community, to help Victorian families through real cost of living relief measures. And of course, it's a budget that's all about taking that real action on the things that matter through ongoing investments to support job, education, transport, health, wellbeing, environmental and social justice outcomes. But of course, it's a budget that's also been developed and delivered in a challenging international and national economic environment, along with the ongoing impacts following on from the COVID-19 pandemic, which required us to invest record amounts to protect businesses, jobs and livelihoods. The ongoing effects of international conflicts, tensions and events are also impacting a myriad of other supply chain, inflationary, energy and cost of living challenges. As the Treasurer said in his Appropriation Bill's second reading speech, two of the biggest economic challenges in particular that have confronted the 2024 state budget have included high inflation and workforce shortages. That's why, along with responding to those cost of living challenges for families, the 24 budget also focuses on fiscal discipline, making sensible decisions that respond to the challenges ahead, namely around jobs and skills and workforce shortages, whilst also continuing to sensibly invest in kinders, schools, transport services, hospitals, wellbeing services, community sporting clubs, climate and environmental action, and of course those social justice initiatives including housing. And Acting Speaker, when it comes to jobs, skills and workforce shortages, this budget at its heart seeks to continue growing economic and employment and training opportunities for all Victorians by continuing to invest in the things that matter, including via our game-changing Big Build infrastructure agenda. We're continuing to support our growing economy for workers and businesses. Since coming to office in 2014, of course, it's been this Victorian Labor government that's created almost 840,000 new jobs, 840,000. Driving unemployment down to a low 4.4% as of June 2024, after a period of state Liberal national government that left behind almost 7% unemployment rate on their watch. It's proudly been our government that's continued to place job creation at the heart of its approach to governing and economic management of this state. But it's also business investment that has continued to grow, with a 13% increase in business investment last year, outpacing the rest of the country by nearly 6 percentage points, with Victoria's economy growing by 9.1% over the past 2 years, outpacing New South Wales, Queensland, Western Australia and Tasmania. Deloitte Access Economics predicts Victoria will continue to spearhead economic growth among all other states over the next 5 years. And that's contrary to the false claims by the Liberal National Opposition. These economic indicators clearly show that our government's approach to protecting and creating new jobs as the economic priority is working, because we know fundamentally the important role that job creation plays in not only the state's prosperity, but the prosperity of every household, family and individual. A job is more than just a paycheck. It provides a sense of purpose, achievement and certainty for every family, very much underpinning the socio-economic well-being of our community. And it's for this reason that in this budget we're investing via a $580 million package designed to help create even more jobs and respond to those workforce shortages for businesses across key sectors, including introducing strict local content requirements on our strategic projects, 330 odd, to the value of $170 billion to engage and prioritise Victorian businesses and workers. We're continuing to support the rollout of free TAFE through over 80 free TAFE courses, over $31 million towards a Skills First initiative, and more funding to grow and support apprentices, traineeships and cadets via the Major Skills Project Guarantee. And ongoing investments and support, of course, to support our local small businesses, including via a range of services, supports and resources that can support small businesses to grow and become more resilient, including through the small business bus, which visited Central Coburg on at least 2 occasions. Because it is Central Coburg that is at the heart of my community's local small business jobs and revitalisation efforts. And through the 2024 budget, I'm very pleased to report that it still, by and large, remains the record investments of this Victorian Labor government that continue to drive and lead local Central Coburg, Sydney Road and Upfield corridor revitalisation efforts. With 2 new world-class stations at Coburg and Moreland, the removal of 4 dangerous level crossings, of course, at Moreland Road, Reynard Street, Munro Street and Bell Street, the delivery of landmark new active transport, cycling, walking and recreational open space corridor along the Upfield line in Coburg, with new open space, 2 MCGs worth, and planting of over 3,000 trees and shrubs. the recent opening for Term 2 of the new $22.5 million Coburg Special Development School, the ongoing design and delivery of the future $17.8 million Coburg Higher Technology Hub, the $6 million redevelopment of the Coburg City Oval to help the mighty Coburg Lions, but which recently also welcomed and accommodated the Bashahuli Foundation and Islamic College of Sport. Over $600,000 to revitalise and restore local creeks through Coburg, including the Mary Creek, Edgars Creek, and over $500,000 to support other local social and wellbeing services in central Coburg, including the Rayner Street Neighbourhood House, the Ethnic Communities Council, VicSeg, and many other organisations who are working to build a more resilient and vibrant local community. But, Acting Speaker, when combined, these and several other key government-led initiatives, including the reforms to remove upfront stamp duty on commercial and industrial land, which will help unlock unutilised land parcels, the state's new housing statement, and work through the updated Plan Melbourne to become Plan Victoria, the future opportunities associated with the two former Kangam Batman TAFE sites in Coburg North and Coburg South, which I've continued to advocate very strongly on behalf of my local community, will all, when combined, continue to help drive central Coburg revitalisation efforts, attract new investment and position Coburg as that future job, skills and cultural hub for Melbourne's North. Because, Acting Speaker, it's this state Labor government investment that's already being leveraged to attract new private and non-government investments. And in this regard, Acting Speaker, 26 years ago to the day, after Pentridge Prison was formally closed and decommissioned as a prison on the 1st of May 1997, I was honoured and humbled to have officially opened that newest chapter in the story of Central Coburg's evolution last year through the new Pentridge Visit and Entertainment Cultural Precinct. And just 1 year on, as featured on Getaway, postcards, via a plethora of online pages and traditional media outlets, the precinct very much is becoming that game changer for Coburg and Melbourne's greater north when it comes to new tourism, visitation and cultural experiences. With the last 12 months recording, get this, an average of 90,000 visitors each month to the new Pentridge precinct. That's over 1 million visitors since it officially opened. Way more visitors, dare I say, than those who originally were housed there under the governor's stewardship. The National Trust's incredible, immersive and must-see heritage tours, having hosted almost 39,000 guests since commencing, and who've included international, interstate, intrastate and local visitors. And I've been working very closely with many local stakeholders, but also a number of ministers who I've welcomed to the precinct, who I look forward to progressing plans on ongoing revitalisation with. But, Acting Speaker, it's also real action on local education, which is the future to our socio-economic prosperity that this year's budget very much continues to deliver on for my area. Beginning with early childhood and kindergartens, it's the Victorian Labor government that's continuing to invest those record amounts through our Best Start, Best Life initiative. Because we know, as we continue the rollout of our game-changing free kinder program for 3 and 4-year-olds, saving families $2,500 per year, we're working to also continue upgrading local kinders to create that extra capacity. And that's why the 24-25 state budget does continue to support these local upgrades via our landmark $10.7 million building blocks partnership with Marybeck Council to upgrade 11 local kinders and create 329 additional kinder spaces. And these have included, as facilitated previously and currently funded, up to $1.5 million to virtually deliver a brand new Derby Street Children's Centre, which on the 6th of June I just visited with the Minister for Children, Minister Blanthorne, to turn the sod officially on the project, which will create at least 20 more spaces for children and increase overall capacity to 75 spaces. $1.35 million for the new Doris Blackburn Preschool in Pascoe Vale South, which we've previously opened in September 23. $1 million towards a major redevelopment to Dunstan Reserve Kinder on Everett Street in Brunswick West, which we announced on the 6th of June with the Minister, and will provide for an upgrade of 2-year-old room, modernisation of the kinder building and overall centre layout, along with upgrades to the kitchen, staff and amenity spaces, and creating an extra 22 spaces across the 3 and 4-year-old rooms. And it was a pleasure, of course, to recently visit the centre with the Minister and to meet with Centre Leader Daniela Theokardis, educators and parents, to celebrate that excellent news. $500,000 towards the Turner Street redevelopment in Pascoe Vale, which we also recently visited a couple of weeks ago with the Minister to inspect the completed works, which included a new learning space, a new foyer, veranda, staff and restrooms, and to say thank you to the educators Aradna, Anna, Pina, Alyssa and all the others who did such a fabulous job in also teaching my 2 daughters not too long ago. $493,000 to upgrade St Linus in North Coburg, and $154,000 for Shirley Robertson Children's Centre to install those new verandas for their 3 and 4-year-old kinder rooms, which I also just recently visited actually with Peter Khalil, the federal member, and to catch up with Director Tina Papa. And just yesterday, I was also delighted to announce even further funding for local kinder upgrades, including $59,000 for the Ansgrove Children's Centre in May Street, Coburg, to install long overdue and much needed sunshades. Short story there, but Ansgrove was also my old Italian teacher at Coburg West Primary School, so it's great to support her back via that investment, I say. $56,000 again for St Linus Playgroup to install new solar panels and insulation. $23,000 of additional funding to Shirley Robertson for new acoustic ceiling panels, and also funding for a number of other kinder administration, IT and tech upgrades at Newlands Preschool, Moreland Kinder, Kids on the Avenue Coburg, Lake Park Kinder in Coburg and Kent Road Uniting Kinder in Pascoe Vale. And it's also across our primary schools that this year's budget very much continues to deliver on. The brand new $7.7 million new indoor gymnasium and basketball court at Pascoe Vale Primary School, which is currently under construction and scheduled to open in 2025 as part of the school's overall $18 million redevelopment. Massive project, incredible project. The brand new $20 million facilities and upgrades being delivered at Newlands Primary School on Elizabeth Street there in East Coburg, North Coburg, Newlands, which also includes a brand new indoor gym, basketball court, new classroom and admin facilities. And I acknowledge the member for Preston's work in that regard as we share that boundary and that school in terms of a catchment area. And these investments, of course, also build on the many other record investments we've delivered for local primary schools since 2014 as well. In terms of high schools, I'm very happy to see that this budget continues to help us progress the $17.8 million new technology hub at Coburg High with the designs and the project scope currently out in the tender process for further consideration. And I look forward to catching up with Brent Horton, the principal, next week to get an update on how that's all tracking. But so far, so good. Community is very excited. The $14.5 million facilities at Pascoe Vale Girls College have included also a new library, tech and creative building. And I had the pleasure to visit just a couple of months ago with the member for Broadmeadows, and also acknowledge the member for Greenvale in that regard too, because Pascoe Vale Girls very much stretches across the northern suburbs in terms of catchment. And those new facilities are now being utilised for the first time as of this term too. And funding is also included in this budget to progress design and development. John Faulkner's Tech Hub as well, and that's through the $14.5 million commitment that we've made. And we understand local families, of course, value the quality of our local high schools. That's why we've continued to invest in all of them since 2014, including $1 million at Mercy College, $21.1 million at Strathmore Secondary, almost $10 million at Glenroy Secondary. And that's why we've also committed to the very first Marybeck North education plan for the area. It's a first, and I'm very much looking forward to that being finalised and released in due course, because it will provide the pathway in terms of how we as a government and community can continue working together to improve outcomes across all of our local high schools in Marybeck North. But it's also students with special and additional learning needs that we continue to invest through this budget on. We continue to embed those new resources via mental health and wellbeing initiatives in schools to support students with a range of neurodiversity needs across our community. And this budget, of course, also did provide that final funding to equip that magnificent $22.5 million project as well at the Coburg Special Development School on Urquhart Street. It's also in terms of transport that we're delivering through this budget. Transport infrastructure, roads, public and active transport, of course. There's $233 million to get the Metro Tunnel project ready for day one.